3, 2, 1.
Happy Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing on this Tuesday? It's your boy Mike D, aka DDE8, aka 13 Wonder of the World. And I'm so sorry that I haven't been on, ladies and gentlemen. I've been going through a couple of things, man. I got to do better with this. I got to do better by y'all. So I apologize for not being on. But I will be back on, starting back kicking this thing. I don't know if I'm going to be on for Easter. I know that WrestleMania is Easter, as well as Saturday, which is Good Friday, Palm Saturday. So I might not be on. I might be on that Friday, but I don't know if I'm going to be on Saturday and Sunday. I'm supposed to be going on a trip, spending Easter with my cousins out of town. But other than that, though, I'm going to try to be on to talk about the results of WrestleMania that Monday. But shout out to the Point Place family. Shout out to Bobby Reezy. Love you, brother. I think your birthday then came, or if it ain't came, happy birthday to you. Shout out to M. Breezy. His birthday coming up. Happy birthday, little soldier. Naya. Love you, niece. My sister. Love all y'all. Thank y'all for tuning into The Point of View on the YouTube app as well as the Podbean. Let me get into it. Let me talk about some things I've been missing, talking to you guys about, and that is, of course, the NBA playoffs is about to start. The play-in starts tonight. The Golden State Warriors against the Memphis Grizzlies, and I think we're going to have Orlando and Atlanta tonight as well. I think Miami and Chicago play tomorrow, and Dallas and Sacramento plays tomorrow. Those are going to be some exciting games because the last two seeds of the season, if they lose, they're out. I can't believe that Golden State wasted an opportunity to be 6, where they could have been playing the Lakers in the first round, and they ended up losing to the Clippers. So the Clippers now are going to be going up against Denver in the first round, and the Warriors are going to be in the play-in. Steph Curry's in the play-in with Jimmy Butler. That's crazy, ain't it? I think, him kind of being injured put a little something on it. The reason why, I don't know why it happened to him, but it happened. They're in the play-in. Despite Dallas losing Kyrie, they're in the play-in. So they got a chance to be in the playoffs. And if I'm OKC, and I know Luka's not in Dallas anymore, and Dallas ends up winning out and becoming the 8th seed, I'm watching out for them because they still got Lively, they still got Washington, and they got those guys that were there last season. So, yeah. But that's a great thing. Tonight, we're going to see some great NBA action tonight. Play-in starts tonight, tomorrow as well as tomorrow. We're going to see what happens with that, who's going to survive and who's going to be out. I think the loser get another shot at it. Whoever loses tonight out of 7 and 8, if whoever loses that game plays another game against the other team, we'll see what happens with that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to be on here too long, man. I just wanted to come back and tell you guys I missed talking to you guys, and I'm so sorry I haven't been on, but I'm back, and I'm going to try not to be gone long. I know I'm probably not going to be on for the weekend, for the Easter weekend. I'll probably be on Good Friday, and that's it. I know we're supposed to be going on a trip this weekend, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the world of sports. Let me get into wrestling since this is the last week before WrestleMania. I still don't know who Randy Orton is going to fight at WrestleMania. I had said Shinsuke Nakamura, but I don't know if he's going to be the one. I don't know if it's going to be Nick Aldis. It could be Aleister Black. It could be somebody else. I don't know who's going to fight Randy Orton at WrestleMania, especially if it's his 20th WrestleMania. I don't know yet, but we'll see. The setup with Jey Uso and Gunther, I'll tell you this, I think Gunther's going to lose now. I think CM Punk is probably going to win the triple threat match because this is his first WrestleMania main event back. And I do believe that CM Punk could be the winner of the match at WrestleMania. I think Seth Rollins is going to be the one to get pinned. That's going to be interesting to see also. Logan Paul and AJ, they're selling it like AJ is going to be the one that's going to probably beat Logan Paul. Rey Mysterio, Chad Gable, who is the masked man, like nobody don't know that. It's going to be, they're heating up. New Day versus the War Raiders. That's going to be interesting. I hope the New Day wins. I really do hope they win the tag team titles. I don't know who else is going to wrestle at WrestleMania. I don't know who else is going to be on the card. I think Solo Sikoa is probably not going to have a wrestling match. I think he'll probably be in Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I don't know who's going to win that. He could be the favorite to win that. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to do what. Of course, Cody and John's going to fight. Charlotte and Tiffany. Drew versus Damian. Bianca, Io, and Rhea. Great matches are going to take place at WrestleMania. At this WrestleMania, which is a 2-night event. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to do what, man. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to do what at this WrestleMania, man. This is going to be I think, let me tell you this. Last year's WrestleMania was one of the greatest WrestleManias in a while because WrestleMania 40 was what it was. Rock came back and wrestled. Cody finally beat Roman Reigns. Sami Zayn shocked the world by beating Gunther for the Intercontinental title. R-Truth and Miz became the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. A-Town Down Under was the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. A lot of things happened at last. Becky versus Rhea was a great match. Bianca and Jade and Naomi had a great match. Bayley had her story by becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion. It was a great time at last year's WrestleMania. Great matches, man. Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton versus Logan Paul for the U.S. title. That was a great match as well last year. WrestleMania 40 was just the top turvy of great matches, man. Great matches, bruh. Now, they got to top that this year. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Also, you got Stand and Deliver as well. You know, you got that pay-per-view from NXT. Of course, Evolve is going on this Wednesday, which is tomorrow. NXT tonight as they start setting up for Stand and Deliver, which is going to be Saturday. Hall of Fame is going to be this Saturday. Today's going to be Raw recap. It's great. It's going to be great to be in Las Vegas, man, because they're going to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, if I'm not mistaken. And you're going to get a dose of wrestling because WrestleMania is the biggest wrestling event of all time. AEW has their Resolution. I think that's their great Slammiversary, I think, is TNA's. But, man, I'm just telling you. These are the great events that where you can get the money, man. And everybody's going to be a part of WrestleMania. Hall of Fame. You're going to see Bret Hart, Stone Cold, the Total Package, Les Luger, Kamala's family, Michelle McCool, the Natural Disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon, who's the former WWE Tag Team Champions. Of course, Triple H, who's a 14-time world champion in the WWE. It's going to be a second Hall of Fame inductee because he might be 3 times. If Evolution ever goes to the Hall of Fame, he will be a 3-time Hall of Famer. it's so many things, man. It's so many, people in that thing. Wow. Who else is in the Hall of Fame? But it's going to be interesting. That's going to be ceremony. Is going to be great. Then you got SmackDown Friday, Street Profits against the Motor City Machine Guns. I hope the Street Profits keep the titles. I just hope that they keep the tag team titles. I don't want them to lose. I want them to keep those titles. If I was to wager on the Raw Women's Championship, I don't think Rhea Ripley needs to win that match at Mania. And I know everybody's going to say, well, Rhea's probably going to win. I think, for once, you put the belt back on Bianca. I'm saying this for a reason, because I want everybody to understand why I'm saying this. I think Bianca should have the title, because you're turning her heel. That would be one of the greatest moments there if she turns heel and has the belt. But they may keep the belt on Io Sky. I wouldn't be surprised if she did come out as the winner and remain champion, because that would be a great thing for her. The women's tag team title match, I think you go with Liv and and Raquel keeps the titles. I don't think Bayley and Lyra wins. This will be her first WrestleMania, Lyra. I think if you want to keep Bayley in a winning situation, I think if you do put the titles on, that would make Lyra a double champion. I think Liv needs to win this to keep her into the mix as a champion, because Liv Morgan does sell, and she's over even if she doesn't have a title. But I think Liv does her and Raquel does keep the titles. I think that's the call that I think you should make. And so, that's a part of what I see happening in the mix. It's going to be interesting. Karrion Kross is actually having a match. Karrion Kross has not had a match in a while. And I forgot to talk about these other matches. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the United States title. Also, I forgot to talk about the 4-way for the Intercontinental title. I think Braun Breaker wins that match. I would love to see Finn Balor become the Intercontinental Champion again. I would be shocked if Dominic Mysterio wins that title, because he could be groomed up to be the next Intercontinental Champion. If you do that, then I think you need to go ahead and build your boy Braun Breaker into main event mode. That's exactly what I think you should have. But I think you keep the Intercontinental title on him because you want to see how far he could take it as a IC champion. Not only that, but I think LA Knight should be a main eventer if he loses the title of Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania. And I'm thinking that Jacob Fatu is going to beat LA Knight, and I think Jacob Fatu will probably become the United States champion. Here's the deal. Jacob Fatu is over even if he does not win the U.S. title. He's over. He is over because of the simple fact that people love him regardless if he's a champion or not. And that's what I think. He doesn't need the United States title. I think he gets the title as a part of a notch in his career, but I don't think he needs that title. I don't think he needs it. I think he's over without it. But it would be great to see Jacob Fatu with the belt. It would be. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some great things happening this week in the media. Excuse me, I'm sorry, kind of tongue twisted. We got some great things happening this this week in the world of sports. WWE WrestleMania. Tomorrow night, AEW. And AEW is going to come on a Thursday this week. Because I know exactly why they're doing it. Because they don't want to compete with WrestleMania on a Saturday. And I think the NBA playoffs come on, the NBA playoffs start this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And TNT's going to have a game, and that's another reason why they're not coming on this Saturday. Also, let me say this too. And somebody asked me, who do they think's going to win the match between, not the match, but yeah, it's a match, basketball match, excuse me. Who's going to win it between the Warriors and the Grizzlies and the Magic and the Hawks? Ja Morant has eliminated Steph Curry from the playoffs, from the play-in before. And I know that Golden State has that in the back of their mind. They've been eliminated by the Grizzlies and has been eliminated by the Lakers in the play-in. I think Golden State could win this tonight, and I think if Golden State wins tonight, and the winner between Dallas and Sacramento plays, and even if I think the Kings will win, the Warriors are going to beat them. That's just my mentality. Because I think they have a better team than the Kings, even though the Kings have a three-head monster in Sabonis, DeMar, and Levine, and they played absolutely great the second half of the season. Ever since Zach LaVine got traded there, the Kings have been playing, because they were a team that they were up and down at first, but they were able to get into the play-in. And they actually knocked out the Phoenix Suns along with the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks were able to get in the play-in as well without Kyrie and the deal with Luka leaving Dallas to go to the Lakers. So I just think that the Warriors are the better team in that mix. And I will say this, and I'm going to say this, I think Ja Morant and them losing Taylor Jenkins is going to cause an impact on them. I just don't see them shaking back from Taylor Jenkins being fired like a week before the season's out, something like that, before the season was over. Denver's trying to maintain, even though losing Michael Malone 3 days before the season was over, 3 games before the season is over. So it's going to be a tough situation for them. But I will say this. Do I think do I think Memphis can beat Golden State? Absolutely. Because I think Morant can put that beating on them, and Ja Morant can play them and win like that, man. It ain't that they can't beat them. I think they can beat them. But the Warriors have got to be careful. But if the Warriors lose, then they play the loser. I'm trying to remember how this goes. So if the Warriors and the Grizzlies, so if the Grizzlies lose, then the Grizzlies have another chance, if I'm not mistaken, to play for 8th seed, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how that goes. If the Warriors at the Grizzlies game, if the Warriors lose, then the 8th seed play the winner of the 9 and 10, and that means that the 10 or the 9, whoever loses that game is out. They're eliminated. We'll see what happens. And also, I think tonight is Orlando and Atlanta. Let me say this about that. That's going to be a fun matchup right there, Atlanta versus Orlando, because you're going to have Pincheiro versus Trae Young. You're going to have Richner against Pope, Caldwell Pope, and all those boys there, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in that situation there, man. And I'm just saying this because I want everybody to know. Sorry about my phone going off. I'm trying to stop it from vibrating. But I believe this right here. I believe that the Warriors, not the Warriors, but I think that the Magic will probably win that. And I think the Magic will probably end up playing Boston, which is going to be a fun series. And Jaylen Brown is kind of injured right now. And I think Jaylen Brown needs to rest along with Tatum. Them boys are kind of nicked up right now. Hopefully they'll be able to go to the play, have a great run. They'll probably be back in the finals. I know they're going to be in the conference finals. I think they'll probably end up playing Cleveland in the conference finals for to go to the NBA finals. That's just my thoughts on that. Atlanta and Cleveland could be a great matchup. And remember, we got Miami and Chicago tomorrow. So that's a toss-up right there. I think Kobe White and them have had a great season. Kobe White has played absolutely great. The Giller, Josh Giddey, who killed us in the game this year, the Lakers. They played great with the moves they made. The Bulls are just, they get to the playoffs every year. They get there. If they get eliminated, they're not that far off from being in the playoffs. They're always somewhere near the play-in or somewhere near in the playoffs. So, give the Bulls credit. They're there every year. The Hawks are there every year. Every season they're there. I don't think they made it last year. I think they were in the play-in last year or whatever. But they're always there. Miami is always there. Even when they're in the play-in, they're there. They ran the table a few years ago when they went to the finals to play Denver. They ran the table. So they're always there. Orlando, they're there in the play. They're a playoff contending team now because of the way that they play. I still think what hurt them was Banchero getting hurt. That's the injuries was the reason why they didn't do anything this year, and that was a problem. That was a huge problem right there for them. But give them credit. Give them credit. They got there, and that's all that matters. And I like that. I like that they're scraping and scratching, and I don't like to say that word scraping because that reminds me of something that I heard on the internet, but I don't want to say that. But they're clawing to get to the playoffs, and that's exactly what it is, folks. And it's going to be interesting. So I haven't talked about baseball. I know I was disappointed in the Dodgers the other day when they gave up 16 runs to the Cubs. And I don't like what's going on with my boys, the Braves. I know Acuna is out. Acuna Jr. is out with an injury. But other than that, though, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the world of sports. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I'm off. God bless you. God keep you. Guys, enjoy your Tuesday. I'm out.